So I'm already almost caught up and I did a little bit of reading, but these new Epstein files are pretty fucking disgusting and really don't paint a pretty picture for people who are in positions of real, high quality, like lots of power, which is really not good. So the solve for that is, as per usual, we're gonna play some rivals. I don't want personalized ads. Yeah, ask me in a week, bro. Fucking I wanted fucking I, so I want to do a lot. There's a lot that I want to do. What I just did, I just finished playing more guitar. I did some Like a Stone, sang it terribly. I did some Show Me How to Live. Can't play and sing that one except for the chorus. Um uh I started working on writing, or not writing but rewriting a middle piece of Win Hell Why. Um I what I need is a drummer who's really good, who can like live with me, like have a house, and then we can like just play music like constantly, and fucking write stuff, which is like would be really cool. Um, and then I wanna be a better singer as well, but all that is besides the point right now. CoffeeZilla is always on it with the Epstein things. He's always directly on top of it.
Whoa.
This is actually some
I've
really
split the
scary
government out
stuff.
in base
Here,
44.
let me
Guys, Nina just built. The FBI just dropped 3.5 billion files, and it is incredible. Huge bombshells about some of the most powerful people on the planet. I can't believe they let some of this stuff out. I mean, it is stunning. Honestly, one of the biggest lies we've seen is the idea that the FBI could possibly come to us and say, not only is there not a client list, there was no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. Guys, we're about to see planned blackmail to one of the most powerful people on the planet, and that is Bill Gates. Listen,
Yeah.
there's a lot we're going to get to, but we have to start with probably the craziest revelation here, which is Jeffrey Epstein emailing himself about Bill Gates. Now, if you don't know, Bill Gates and Epstein had a relationship post 2008. That's a big year. You're going to hear a lot today, because 2008 was the time that Epstein pled guilty for soliciting of somebody under the age of 18. He was a predator at this point. Everybody knew it. Now, eventually, Bill Gates would get divorced when all of this came out. Melinda Gates said it was part of the direct cause for the divorce. She said she met Epstein and said he was evil.
He was evil personified.
So you have to understand, this is like Bill Gates' kryptonite. He's one of the richest men on the planet. He's got this huge philanthropy.
So yeah, as you guys can see, just off the start, we're rolling deep. We are big stuff is happening, and I went through and I read that email, and it's I don't even know how to describe it, but it does at the very end. Fuck, there was something like at the very end. There's something that's directly redacted. Fuck, it was all last night. I was pretty stoned, but I got like the big points, which is that Epstein was very claimed to be very hurt by Bill Gates's not wanting to work with him anymore, and something about throwing away a friendship and all this shit that isn't important. There's a lot of stuff I would go through and read it. This is why it's good that I'm doing a little refresher. But yeah, as you can see, shit's popping off, not in a good way.
His relationship with Epstein has been a huge problem for him, and Epstein appears to have known that, because in 2013, Bill Gates appears to be distancing himself from Jeffrey Epstein. And Epstein seems to have a problem with that. He says, I assume the dedication to our relation went both ways. Larry has now asked me to...
Yeah, this Larry guy is fucked up and not even communicating with you, though consistently maintained. Something about like $500,000 for free. There's a lot of, decided to discharge me from my job. Had Larry, your PR person, tell me that I engaged in morally inappropriate behavior, then asked me to be a major actor in a cover-up so that you can maintain the reputation that you have worked so hard to achieve. Yeah.
to recommit to a confidentiality agreement. Basically, he's got to shut up about his relationship with Bill Gates. And this is where the blackmail starts, and it comes in the form of like, if I were you, I would do X if I were the type of guy that you should be. He says, in that regard, I suggest I buy you the house that you had your heart set on. In addition to 5 years of severance, we'll buy you out of the investment contract we agreed upon, 30 to 40% of an $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's terms. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. Then he lays out what he has on Bill Gates, or what he says he has. Quote, to add insult to injury, you subsequently, with tears in your eyes, implore me to delete the email I had regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you could surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your I mean, this is insane.
Yeah, that's big stuff. That's big stuff. That was the big thing. Is that he was like, fucking, it's like, yeah, I understand it. I just can't say it back to you. Homie had STD, secret STD. Fucking, it's all bad stuff. It's all really fucking, like, gutter, like, trash. Let's keep going. This is a solid cap.
Out in text form,
Good
I
team.
would give
I
me
love it.
millions of dollars, and I can't believe you're asking me to delete the message where you were going to give STD medication to your wife without her knowledge. I mean, it's complete. It's crazy. It's just completely obvious what he's doing here. It's just a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Here's what you should do. But now that coming out after Epstein's death, this looks really bad for Gates, obviously, because you usually wouldn't blackmail somebody for something that's completely false or fake. I mean, maybe he did that. But we also know Bill Gates had affairs. Obviously, Melinda credits it for their divorce. So it's hard to believe there was nothing sketchy going on. Bill Gates, of course, maintains that it was completely above board. He says the fact this allegation was in here just shows how much Epstein was willing to defame people. But Epstein lays it out. He says he helped Bill get drugs in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls, facilitating his illicit trysts with
There's a
married
lot of
women,
stuff that I
and
forgot
to being
about.
asked
Holy
to provide
shit.
Adderall for bridge tournaments. Look, guys, this is exactly
Jesus
what we
Christ.
suspected the whole time. Epstein was providing services to rich people and expecting payment via blackmail. Now you might say, and it's true, that we don't know that Epstein ultimately sent that version of an email to Gates. All we know is he sent that to himself. He may have planned the blackmail and just been drafting something. But what we do know are two things. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Gates was threatened by Epstein over an affair. We also know that after this blackmail email Jeffrey sent to himself was written, eventually Gates sent a $2 million donation to MIT directed by Jeffrey Epstein, which is a bit weird if you had distanced yourself from the guy and y'all had this big falling out. Now again, do we know for sure that Bill Gates did all of that? No, of course we don't. But do I think Bill Gates was innocently looking for charity advice
God,
from
no.
a after he already pled guilty? No.
Absolutely
I'm
not.
sorry, I'm not that gullible. And speaking of not that gullible, we've been lied to also by another richest guy on the planet. Geez, it's a shock why they don't want to put
Oh
this
yeah,
out.
fucking Elon Musk. I
who
forgot
has
about
been
this.
saying for years that it is a lie. That
It's a lie.
went
He
to
wasn't involved.
Epstein's
Nope.
Island. In
Nope.
fact, he
Was
says
never there.
He refused to go. From Elon, he says, Epstein tried to get me to go to his island. I refused. He says, anyone pushing this false narrative deserves complete contempt. Later responding to another headline which said Elon Musk planned trip to Epstein's private island.
A couple
He
of
says,
times. I think it
"This
was
is
at least
false."
3
But of
times.
course, we start to dig through the files, and we can see on Epstein's calendar that Elon Musk is booked in December 6th of 2014. But maybe you don't believe that. That's just the word of
2014. That
Jeffrey
was
Epstein.
even pre
But maybe
the
you'll
homeboy being a
believe
big
the word
guy.
of Elon Musk, who was caught emailing Jeffrey Epstein to go to his island post the guilty plea. Elon
Yep,
Musk writes,
hunting
"We'll
for
be
the
in
wildest
EIC Barnes
party."
area over the holidays. Good time to visit. Jeffrey Epstein says, I will send a heli for you. Later, Elon Musk writes to Epstein, probably just to Lula and me, his ex-wife, what day and night would be the wildest party on your island?
Yeah.
The world's richest man is asking the most pedophile man for the
The
wildest
world's
party
biggest
on his
pedophile.
island. And then it gets more explicit. In 2012, remember this
Oh,
guy said,
God,
"I
the cheaper
refuse
town
and I
hall.
could never
Yep.
do that, right? It's false. But here in 2012, he says, do you have any parties planned? I've been working to the edge of my sanity this year. I really want to hit the party scene in St. Bart's or elsewhere and let loose. The invitation is much appreciated, but a peaceful island experience is the opposite of what I'm looking for. Guys, he can't even play the I went to go study math excuse.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
I
what
went for
all
the
these guys
snorkeling.
do. They say, hey, I just went to go talk to scientists. Elon's like, hey, I don't want to do that. I'm looking for a party.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here to do. And then Jeffrey Epstein writes, understood, I will see you on St. Barth. The ratio on my island might make your ex-wife uncomfortable.
The
I
ratio?
can't believe these guys are lying to us, and people are swallowing it still.
Yeah,
Thinking
no,
that Elon Musk
it's
had nothing to do with this
yeah,
guy.
it's
So
insane, dude.
that's
It's
2012.
absolutely insane.
That's 2014.
They've done a
But
great
guess what?
job of
There's
getting people
another
to forget
time
about
in
it.
2013. I mean, this seems like a yearly thing with the boys. Here once again,
It absolutely
Elon
is.
Musk writes, "We'll be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Again, is there a good time to visit?" Jeffrey
Oh,
Epstein,
dude, what
any
is
day,
happening,
first
big
of the
dog?
eighth,
I'm a
play by ear
rocket
if you
man.
want,
I know
always
how you
space for
work,
you.
bitch.
They then plan some more, and you might think, well, if Elon ever told the truth, this is when he has to
Should have
reject.
done. You should have
right? 'Cause
gone
he
up
said,
the
"I
wall, dashed
refuse."
over there, and fucking
But
floated
actually, it
around.
appears to be one of those cases where, like, your
So he
friend
didn't
says,
have
like,
a team,
"Oh,
so
bro,
it's not like I would have been
and actually,
unable
it's
to
the other way.
chase him down.
Yeah, it turns
Bye.
out Elon didn't dump the
Sorry.
well,
The pedophile dumped Elon? Hold on. We gotta go back. I didn't see this. I didn't see that one. That's craziness. Dude fucking got distracted by the game. We're supposed to be talking about the biggest, like, confirmed sex trafficking ring with some of the most powerful people in the world involved, and I'm worried about Marvel fucking
dump
rivals. This is
Elon,
embarrassing.
right? We'll be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Again, is there a good time to visit? Jeffrey Epstein, any day, first of the 8th, play it by ear if you want, always space for you. They then plan some more, and you might think, well, if Elon ever told the truth, this is when he has to reject, right? Because he said, I refused. But actually, it appears to be one of those cases where, like, your friend says, like, oh, bro, I dumped you. And actually, it was the other way. Yeah, it turns out Elon didn't dump the dumped Elon. He says, bad news. Unfortunately, my schedule will keep me in New York. Hopefully, we can schedule another time in the future. Jeffrey Epstein let
That
Elon
sucks.
down. That's actually the real story. Is the
Dude.
reason he didn't go in 2013 was because he couldn't go. Jeffrey Epstein was not there. Guys, I mean, how blatant do they have to make it before we start to just see through it, right? When they issue these ridiculous denials, they're totally associated with the guy after the guilty plea. They lie through their teeth, but they can't even keep their story straight. I mean, that's what's crazy. They're not even competent at this. They get caught in their own lies all the time. Remember, the FBI's official story was they didn't blackmail. Well, before we even had these files, Howard Lutnick was on the record calling Jeffrey Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever.
So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around here and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
No, they participated.
right.
That's what his MO was, you know, get a massage, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume is on YouTube. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Interesting. Okay, so Howard.
That was his
different
whole
perspective.
job.
Now,
His whole
you
job
know, that
was
guy,
not as a
you
Mossad
think he's
agent,
just
but
telling
as
the
a
truth here. Even
blackmailer.
This guy who's contradicting the official narrative. This guy literally lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. This guy was like, I'm gonna tell the truth. Those guys participated. That guy lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. And by the way, he lied too. I love this video we're about to get into because this guy, Mr. He's the greatest blackmailer ever. Does he know something we don't know? Because
Oh, 100%.
Mr. I'm his neighbor had to also explain how he had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And he lays it out pretty simply. He goes, yep, I lived next to him, but in 2005, I had such a horrible experience that I knew I could never talk to him again.
He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
We move in 2005. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like Kuwait or something.
Right, right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. And there's a massage table in the middle of the room. Massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he like gets like weirdly close to me. And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Well, he couldn't be more clear, could he, right? He says, hey, I may have been his next door neighbor, but I met him once before the 2008 guilty plea. Remember I said that was a big deal?
Yeah.
And we got
That was when the
invited over,
10 co-conspirators
and then
got
it was
off.
like 5 seconds, and we left, and we realized he was a creep. We were out of there. He made this rude, lewd comment in front of my wife. I would never go see this guy. I mean, he makes it super clear. Gross.
Don't say he's in the files. He's not in the email.
For business or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
These other guys, they may have participated,
They participate.
but Howard Lutnick, he could never. No, he's too good of a guy. Well, guess what we found in the old email?
Fuck.
Looky. It's Howard Lutnick writing in to Jeffy Boy in 2012. Hi, Jeff.
Secret
We're
town
landing in
hall,
St.
dude.
Thomas early afternoon, planning to head over.
I'm
Where are
gonna
you
blame my
located?
team.
What's the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? Is this the guy you said made a lewd
Whoa.
comment
Is
to your
this the
wife?
guy?
Oh, I could
Is this
never
the
be
guy
her.
who said he was
Well, hi,
bringing?
Jeff. We're landing.
Yeah. Each of us has 4 children: 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7-year-old.
It's St.
That's
Thomas early afternoon, planning to
crazy.
head over. Where
That's
are you
crazy.
What's the exact
That's
location for my
crazy.
captain? Does Sunday
Why would you
evening
do
for dinner
that?
Sound good? Is this the guy you said made a lewd comment to your wife? And, oh, I could never be in front of him. He's gross. Guess what the next email is? My boy's wife messaging in, saying we're headed towards you in St.
To
Thomas.
who?
Later, the subject line, Jeffrey Epstein. Good morning, Howard.
Oh.
Jeffrey wished me to pass you along. Nice seeing you.
Bro.
They clearly met, and the guy is just lying about it to your face, to the American public's face, and they tried to hide it from us. I cannot emphasize this enough. They're lying through their teeth. You think this guy perfectly remembers a 2005, like, walking in the guy's house? I remember exactly what I said to him. My wife and I looked at each other, and he wouldn't remember the 2012. I boated over to his private island for a dinner. Is that what we're really thinking? Is that what we're expected to believe? This is a momentary lapse in his judgment. No, these guys don't even care about being consistent, and they're all throwing each other under the bus. Don't you remember Elon Musk saying, the time to drop the really big bomb, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they haven't been made public. My guy, you also are in the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Very clearly doing stuff you lied about, okay? So is Howard Lutnick, who says, yeah, Bill Gates, he's probably getting blackmailed because he participated. What did you do on the island over in 2012, Howard? Do we know that? I mean, does
With,
anyone
you
care?
know,
Now, the last thing
a
was
lot
some
of
those
children, at
reports-
least 5 children.
It's also, again, I have to say, unverified, okay? This is the NTOC, the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, and the challenge with confirming some of this is that these are anonymous tips, or they black them out at least, so we don't know who they are, and anyone can drop a tip. Now, that doesn't mean that you should disregard them. It just means we can't verify them. The other challenge is that the FBI has a heavy incentive to discredit anything with Donald Trump in it, just because he's in the White House right now, obviously. And so I want to be clear, there are notes related to some of these submissions where they say things like complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. Additional research showed 3 separate redacted. You know, it's hard to tell how much this is the proper due diligence
Come
of
on,
the FBI.
come on,
They show
Chet,
that
come on.
and not all complaints are credible.
Ooh. But yeah, yeah. Fuck, I'm so sorry, everybody. I got excited. Oh yeah, this was so Trump beat and raped a 13-year-old because he's a fucking asshole piece of shit, and he beat and raped a little baby as well, like an actual like sub 10-year-old.
Friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about fighting President Trump. The friend also said she was abused by Epstein. Later,
Oh,
there's
fuck.
very explosive claims about big parties with her, other younger girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. There's claims third hand about a female victim of Epstein's who wants to publish a book citing Leslie Wexner, Epstein.
Yeah,
Bill Clinton,
Leslie
Donald
Wexner.
Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell is in the videos as well. And it goes on like this for a while. Some of the complaints are just like very graphic, and obviously I'm going to censor out some
It's
of it.
absolutely
But I should also
disgusting.
mention the DOJ
Hate
claims
all of it.
that some of these claims were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had any sort of credibility, credibility, they would have certainly been weaponized against President Trump already. Now, I agree that if a complaint is timed right before an election, there definitely could be some other motivations to that, but it's also ridiculous to say that anything in the Epstein files, if it were true, would have come out already, because why didn't we see the stuff about Bill Gates, for example? I mean, that stuff apparently has been sitting in here for a long time, and not only did no one talk about it, the FBI literally, like, covered for it. I mean, they said...
Yeah, I was gonna say, you forget these guys have a lot of money. You know, $3 million. That's a even $50,000 is a life-changing amount of money.
That this was not the case. There are big claims against a lot of powerful people. Nobody in that file really wants to rock the boat or really...
How many of these people do we think the reason that they're in the positions they are in was because they participated and then didn't talk? Like, someone was like, man, this guy, he's kept his mouth shut and he's done some fucked up shit. No one even knows about it. You know, he's a good guy to have in power, in a position where he can cover for us if things go south, right? I mean, not to be Mr. Tinfoil Hat, but I feel like that's logically, like, following the logic of the situation, that makes sense.
Release the files, because then they get in trouble and their buddies get in trouble, and that's a huge problem. So I don't really buy the idea
Rip
that,
Bozo,
if it
dude.
were true,
Sorry.
all this gotten out. I don't buy that.
Only
That's
reason
why
I
we need
make excuses for
transparency.
Trump
That's
is
why it's
because
important to
he's
file
gonna
out.
keep
But
the
this
chair
is a
regardless, no
small
matter what we
fraction of the
want to
puzzle.
do to
And
him.
over the next few weeks, we're going to go through all of the major findings we can from this 3.5 million page document dump. But seriously, think about how discrediting this has been, not only to this administration, but to so many rich and powerful people who have lied through their teeth happily towards you in order to hide their relationship with this man that many of them held post-guilty plea. And some of them, now we know,
post-guilty plea,
Epstein
because
prepared
nothing happened to
blackmail
him.
for them, and according to reports, threatened.
Oh, I would too.
Welcome to the next generation of website creation.
These guys are
Wix
just
Harmony.
smart enough.
Get
Like,
the power of AI and the freedom of drag and drop to turn your words into a web.
yeah, absolute insanity. I mean,
A weirdo had a business where he treated. Looks like this.
yeah, this whole Epstein thing. Unfortunately, I'm not confident that there's going to be a lot done about it, just because I think that the people in power are too powerful, and I think the people as a force are not united. We are all divided and worried about different things. And so I think it's going to be easiest to clear the domestic issues on the ground. Like, make sure the country is working before we try and fix the government. Because right now the country isn't even fucking... Like, the prerequisite hasn't been met, you know? Okay, yeah, this was a terrible move. Awful move by me. Yeah, also, anyone who went and saw Iron Lung, you gotta tell me if it's good or not. Because I don't... Like, I don't know. I want to know if it's worth seeing, because I want to go see it. I should go see it either way. I wish I could, like, buy it and stream it. That would be ideal. Oh, you sick fuck. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you do it. Well, 0% chance that this works out well for me. Of course I can kill her. Yep, that's what I was worried about. Yep. Just gonna dash into that health thing and then fucking run. Where is our team? What is our team? We have one support. Okay. Alright. Well, there's our problem. So I don't know. It's like, why can our team not just, like, you know, stay alive? And not only do they have supports, but they have supports who are, like, skilled. Hit E, fucking drone that bitch. I'm trying. Yeah, I know. Nice. Well done, Gambit. Yes, I know. Please fuck off. Please. Whatever you think you're doing, I need you to stop doing it. Shields up. What's up, Blade? I don't know how you work. You're just gonna freaking die if that's chill. Perfect. Jesus Christ. Don't you fucking dare. Yeah, I fucking knew it. I knew it. I just fucking knew it. Guys, I'm trying. Guys, I'm trying. Don't die. God fucking damn it. Stop dying. Stop dying. Everybody stop dying. Fucking hell. That sucks, dude. That super sucks. That's really annoying. Why? What the fuck are we doing, team? Team, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? This is... We are only gonna fucking lose, dude. You see how fucking long that took, dude? Team. Do we have brain? Do we have brain? Are we in possession of brain? I'm trying so hard. You guys, you have to understand. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Just get me the fuck out of here, please. Please get me the fuck out of here. I'm dead. We need actual, like, damage. Okay, alright. I know. I want to, like, really bad. Okay, there's one. Bro. Yeah, it would be a great time to stop them, actually. I want to blame my team so bad, but I legitimately don't know if it's my team's fault. The moon haunts you. I like actually hate, dude. I hate so hard. I hate everything about this. I can't. And now we're back to fucking one support. Oh. My lord, people, please. I want to. I want to stop them really fucking bad, dude. Every time I leave spawn, our team comp gets worse. It's awful. I hate it. Yep, that's really cool, actually. This one, okay. Alright. So you guys see what happens when we have a normal team comp? We start winning. Like, now we have a chance. Okay, yeah. Bro. Yeah, shit was doomed from the start. Eat 15. Might get more coffee and then play some drums. GG, that was not a good game. That was a fucking shit game. That was awful. That was fucking trash, dude. Again, I want to blame my teammates. Every fiber of my being is saying, it's not your fault, Griffin. Griffin, you're good at the game. It's definitely not your fault. And then I'm reminded of the scoreboard and, you know.
Hey, Donald Trump. It's just me, Paula Poundstone. I'm in a hotel room because I did my stand-up comedy show here in Philadelphia tonight. Did I ever tell you about the time I was pulled over in my 65 Mustang for having tint on my back window? And I told the cop it was okay to have tint on your back window. And he said, "Do you want to go downtown and argue about it?" And I said, "Can I open the glove compartment?" Keep in mind, I'm not black, so I could do this. And I had all of the documentation in there from a fix-it ticket I got for having tint on my side windows. Signed off on by a police officer at a police station where I was not required to remove it from the rear window because it was not illegal. I had evidence, and that's what I want to talk to you about. Boy, those Clintons. I mean, they really are buttholes. You've been saying for a long time that Bill Clinton was all over the Epstein files. I'm not sure why you would know that, but I remember you said when Bobby Kennedy kept his promise of finding the cause of autism by September, which at the time I thought couldn't be done. But on September 22nd, boom! You and Bobby Kennedy revealed that it was Tylenol.
Which, for anyone who doesn't know, and I complained about this on my channel, there were legitimate causes for the rise in reported cases of autism, none of which were Tylenol. There were actual, real-deal causes. They had a problem. There was an identifiable solution. Well, problem. There was an identifiable solution, identifiable cause. And then they were like, yeah, but it was Tylenol, though. Actually, it's Tylenol. Which was really fucking annoying. It's -1 out right now. Anyways, fucking... yeah. Fucking... You know... Fuck. Had a point. Identifiable cause of Tylenol. Not to mention, autism isn't a fucking issue, right? Like, everyone's got their own autistic interest. It's a spectrum. Some are just more autistic than others. You know? I feel like this shouldn't even be a discussable problem. We should be... I don't know, besides the point, which was really stupid. The other stupid thing is that the studies that they were using to back it had already been proven false in the fucking 70s. There were studies from the 50s that had been proven false in the 70s, and yet they were still using that, like, for the MMR vaccine and all this shit. It was a bunch of bullshit. It's so annoying.
It was Tylenol the whole time.
The
That was it. Tylenol. All All these years, scientists and doctors were banging their heads against the wall. Metaphorically, not like ICE detention centers banging heads. It's just an expression. But they couldn't solve the problem. And then along comes you with the former heroin addict who had a worm in his brain, who no other president would ever have considered for the job of Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Alright, I will say, Bobby Kennedy and what they're doing about recovery is, I think, super awesome. That is one thing I will say about Trump, is he gets results. Whether you like the results or not, whether you like the methods of the results, which I don't because they're illegal, he's getting results, you know. So, I don't know.
Services, but you did, and he cracked it. And I remember in that press conference, you said, it's turning out that we understood a lot more than a lot of people who studied it. That's how you roll, right? You just know stuff. You're endowed by your creator. You don't have
He's
to
literally
study
me.
anything.
He's just like
You
me.
don't have to
Dude,
study the
I've never
Epstein
studied.
files, and you certainly weren't on the guy's stupid island, and you didn't have to be in order to know that Bill Clinton was there. I mean, that's it. It's done. It was Clinton. Look no further, right? And now, that rat bastard tells you to release the whole file. Where does he get off? And you could, right? That's not a problem for you. You just have to say the word. But you're not gonna give him the satisfaction. You've hated the Clintons ever since they sat through your wedding ceremony with Melania and they didn't object.
Melania. Dude, Adam Conover. I fucking... Is this guy like me?
So damn stupid. They think you're so damn crazy. Killing people from a distance in an instance at the insistence of a president with a blackmail gun to his head for the fun that he had in the dark ages. Pages and pages and pages and pages. They thought they'd get away with it. The minimum wage is outraged with it. They're gonna burn somebody at the stake for it. Fruit of the doom, oranges and grapes. Hold on to your vapes, kids. Icicles and alligators and blood traders and purveyors of strange behaviors and masqueraders and masked invaders and layers and layers. Be good to your God, be good to your bear. Take your aspirin and your roundup and say all of your prayers. The loogie of factions that the nation has hacked is boiling and festering and stabbing itself in the back. Who here is surprised by that? Who here is blown aghast? If you want to know the future, simply look into the past. All the masks are off. They think you're so damn stupid. They think.
Yeah, dude, that makes me fucking wanna play guitar. Fuck, chat. Fuck. I'm gonna open Rivals to close it, and then I'm gonna open FL Studio. Cause what I need to do is I need another camera. I need a front-facing camera. Cause I have my drum camera, and then my big, like, you guys are missing the entire studio. Maybe I just move where my fucking camera is, like a smart, intelligent person with a brain. Like, if I do one of these, can you guys? No, you guys can't fucking see that shit. Fuck. Yeah, dude, that's what you guys are missing. It's really sad. See, I can't get the camera to stay lined up. I do one of these, which kind of feels fucking really not fun to do. I don't like this. I don't like that at all. I fucking... Dude, Chad, I'm hating on this right now. Hold on. Hello? Mm. Cool, 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 cool. Okay. Let me see if I can fix it. If I can make it all okay. If I can get up on my damn soapbox and blow all these gray clouds away. Dude, see, that's so fire. If I can get up on my soapbox and I can blow all those gray clouds away. Uh, fucking. The martyr's dead, king's lost his head, and we're left in the wayside. At the foot of a cliff. At the foot of a cliff with no tools, no possible way to climb. Oh. Fucking, what's the, what's it called? What's it, fuck? Dude. What the fuck is this? Chat. What the fuck? Chat. What the fuck is this? Ugh. See, now, why? 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 Bro, why is this like the worst? Can I? Of the new scene. I feel so alone, gonna end up a big old pile of them. I feel so alone, gonna end up a big old pile of them. I feel so alone, gonna end up a big old pile of them bones. Hell yeah. Sorry that you guys have to see my fat, ugly, stupid face. But check this out, right? Fucking... I feel so alone, gonna end up a big old pile of them. I feel so alone, gonna end up a big old pile of them. I feel so alone. I doubt you guys will be able to hear this at all, which kind of sucks. Fucking... Fop with me and I'll fop with you. Fopping is shit, dude. I love that shit so much. The fop. The fop. They wouldn't let me stop. Yeah, I was fopping. Rocking. Had the whole house bop. Everybody was a fopping. The way it makes you go. Fuck. Dogs are howling. Run to hunt you down. So run, hunt you down. Go run, hunt you down. Fop, fop with me, and I'll fop with you. A fopping is the brand new thing to do. Dude, where's like a mic stand so that I can mic my amp? Fuck. See, I don't want to use this gigantic nice one. I did the fop. The fop. They wouldn't let me stop. Yeah, I was fopping. Rocking. Had the whole house bop. Everybody woes. The way it makes you go. Everybody woes. Everywhere you go, do you? Welcome to the flow, everybody was. Yeah. Fuck, dude. Yeah, so this is the instrumental for my song When Hell Why. Can you guys hear me at all? Like, barely. Fuck, chat. Fuck. Fuck. Had the whole house bop, everybody woes. Foppin'. The way it makes you go, everybody woes. Everywhere you go, do you shopping? Sorry. Chat, I'm so sorry. Also, yeah, if any drummers are interested in joining my band, that's another song I'm gonna write. I'm gonna call it Join My Band. I'm just gonna beg bandmates to join my band. It's a really funny idea, I think. They stepped back and gave me. Everybody woes. The way it makes you go. Alright, check. This is Charles. Y'all feeling alright? Alright. So. Fuck. In terms of lyrics, there are lyrics, but I can't sing them. I can sing one part of it. There's one part of it that I can sing and play. So yeah, without further ado, When Hell Why, just cause it's cool. Fucking. I haven't decided on the effects. Fuck. It's a performance. Ah! Uh. Fuck. Follow me at this date and this time. Now you've really done it. Do you see where you are? Just don't tell no one, or you know there will not be a next time. Oh. Fuck, dude. It's supposed to be kind of like a bossa nova thing. I know it's performance, but it's like I'm realizing now this is definitely not stage ready, and it probably won't be for a long time. Which super sucks. My fingers are also freezing because it's the fucking middle of winter and it's -1 degrees out. So I might go make a nice hot coffee and then we can do more research and then I'll work on this at a later time. But yeah, that part is supposed to be like a little bossa nova feel, like a little. Oh, we're still. Like dum. Fuck. Whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that at a later time. Like I said, I need or a later time. I need coffee and I need a yeah, something. Something. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully you're going to be seeing a little bit more of this cuz I really like doing this. It's like fucking and in your waking hands I will land and roll out of my skin. And final hours I will stand ready to begin. Ready to begin. Ready to begin. Nail in my head. Oh. Yeah, fuck that. Ugh. When I'm good at singing. I mean, people ain't gonna listen if it's ain't good. I ain't Les Claypool.
Las Vegas residency, opening February 3rd for select nights through
Over 2.5 million Epstein files were released today, and it was so exposing that the DOJ started to remove files, but not before people already screenshotted it ahead of time because they're privy to their game. Because this information that the DOJ is still trying to hide is damning. It is almost unbelievable how many women reported the same allegations against Donald Trump, to include a whole list of other people. The DOJ is hiding and protecting the perpetrators, but revealing the names of the victims that reported these incidents, as if to punish them. They're speaking up against this. Now, this is all odd because Elon Musk also appeared in these Epstein files, and there was an implication that he went to Epstein's island and had begged him to go. We have that proof too. However, if you take it from Donald Trump himself, he'll say, I had nothing to do with it. Let's take a look at this clip.
The president was part of the rush to get this deal done to knock Jeffrey Epstein's story out.
Oh, you got to be kidding with that. No, had nothing to do with it. Only you would think that. That had nothing to do with it.
What an odd thing to say. Because do you remember this tweet from Elon Musk saying, time to drop the really big bomb, real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the reason they have not made it public. How would Elon Musk know this? Well, according to these emails, not only has Elon Musk been to the island multiple times and asked personally to go, but he even implies something terrifying. A peaceful island experience is the opposite of what I'm looking for. Just what are you looking for then, Elon Musk? This was after Jeffrey Epstein said he's going to send a helicopter to come get him. And of course, Jeffrey said, understood. Now let's get to these leaks, which they're currently trying to distract us from by arresting people like Don Lemon, as if we're going to forget about this. Let's dive in. Remember, the DOJ just removed this because they did not mean to release this portion. And this isn't even the full list of reports. This is only a portion, because you see the cutoff right up here that there's way more than this. This just wasn't supposed to make the cut. Now, complainant reported his ex-girlfriend's names were victim of Epstein's and one was murdered. While working as a limousine driver, complainant picked up Donald Trump and took him to the airport. During that ride, he heard Trump speak about things involving pulling a limousine over and hurting somebody because of something the other person was saying. Complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of the complainant's ex-girlfriend's name told complainant Trump her, as did Epstein. Caller is talking about crimes committed against her. She claims to be a prisoner. She references Lisa Marie Presley, the British royal family, President Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein. Here's one involving Trump's modeling agency, showing that there's a possibility that he potentially tracked women from his modeling agencies and hotels to Jeffrey Epstein, as stated before, and many other incidents from many other victims. Complainant reported her neighbor sought modeling gigs at the Trump modeling agency in New York City between the years of 1998 to 2000. Complainant reported neighbor allegedly went on cruises set up by a recruiter or head of the agency, and once showed complainant a photo of the recruiter, who complainant recalled looked like Epstein. Complainant reported the neighbor was allegedly raped several times during this period. Another occasion, a caller provided information to reference prior civil case from 13 years ago that involved Trump and mentioned Jeffrey Epstein with a minor. We're gonna stop calling them complainants as written and refer to them as victims. Victim following up after a call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Victim also reported there were high-profile individuals in her sex trafficking and the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Victim reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force him to perform sex acts with him, and alleged Trump was present with her uncle murdering her newborn child. Now this one gets crazy because it alleges that the FBI and Trump at least at one time were on the phone together when a victim called. Victim was taken by boat to Epstein's island. Victim said it was complicated and involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Victim became a school counselor and had a meeting with the school principal, Linda Kitts, and a police officer, where the caller was informed there were pictures of herself with Epstein. Victim reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person, and the school wanted her to testify and say things against Andrew Cuomo. The FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. Caller believes the FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. And the same way we saw that there was way more reports at the top, there's way more reports at the bottom. This is only what we got through a leak. Victim reported that in 1987, a friend, Victim 1, was taken out drinking and ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave Victim 1 a drink, and Victim 1 woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought she had been raped. Victim 1 did not go to hospital to have a rape kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and Victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer.
I'm gonna be honest, chat. Never be scared. Like, ever. especially now that there's actual evidence of things like this going on. I think it should be taken very seriously, and criminals should go to jail. Fucking full stop. This is absolutely awful.
Lawyer identifiers unknown who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with this lawyer and went to a bar. Victim 1 left the bar with a man who no one in the bar recognized but who seemed to be familiar with Victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again. A few years ago, remains were discovered that matched the description of Victim 1 was wearing when she went missing. DNA tests at that time were inconclusive. Why do every single one of these reports have Donald Trump's name somewhere in it? And why is there more at the bottom that we do not see? Why is there more at the top that we do not see? And what is the DOJ hiding? Because last I checked, the federal court ordered that you had to release all Epstein files. That has not happened. They're still hiding files, and we are going to uncover this the same way we uncovered the redacted Epstein files. There's 2 more of these reportings, and we're going to move on to Elon Musk being caught up in all this, which explains why he deleted his tweet.
Alright, we heard all this. The host of Jeffrey Epstein associating Donald Trump ran attendance, batting the bus, PR agent stood at the door at the party, calling that an individual was approximately 18 to 23, was brought from Oklahoma for a modeling job, but then sold to a man in France. Several women were being auctioned, and a woman possibly known as Colette LMU was the madam. Years later, victims saw Colette at the Cheetah Club in New York, and she told them that Sandy's friend Jamie Foxx was interested in spending a night with her and he could pay her a lot of money. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them? I'm not, by the way, guys. I don't participate in suicide. I'm heavily against it. This is super fucked up. I wish he had left the file there. I'm gonna...
exposing Trump being in the.
This is, I still don't know. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fucking Trump would auction the children. Trump would auction the children, guys. Fucking try to alert the masses about Trump auctioning children. So do you play everything the same? For now,
The Epstein files and how he knew he was there in the first place. Now, this last one is absolutely insane because I'm not sure who typed this, but clearly the DOJ did not want this to get out because this is crazy. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them. Now, I don't know about you, but when someone gets convicted of the same story over 10 different times, and then it's over 20 different times, and then it's over 30, and the same exact stories are being said by different victims from all around the world, which many of them are also suffering the same fate of going missing. However, the ultimate connection between all these stories seems to be Donald Trump and Epstein. So it's no wonder he was deathly afraid of this coming out, because this would be the death of Donald Trump. Now let's get into a couple more of these allegations the DOJ and Trump wants nobody to see. Victim reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis she was approximately 13 or 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit Trump while performing it. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein. Next one, and this is crazy right here, because Elon Musk accused Trump and Trump accused Bill Clinton. How would all three of you know that all three of you are in the Epstein files? And why are you accusing each other if you're all in the Epstein files? Because we have not heard Trump say anyone's name more than Bill Clinton. Now let's take a look at this reporting right here. At age 16, while modeling, Caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, Caller reported that she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured Caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin raped her best friend and a third brother, Ty, a 14-year-old girl named Victim. Caller named other individuals involved in big parties with her, other young girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. This person next reported seeing a trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California between 1995 to 1996. Victim reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and a broker at parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Victim reported participating in orgies and that some girls went missing, rumored to have been murdered and buried at the facility. Why do so many of these stories end this way? They usually end this way when the victim reports something or threatens to speak up. Victim reported being threatened by Trump, then head of security, that if she ever talked what went on or who she saw, she would end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other cunts. That is exactly what we just said, and the pattern we've recognized over the past few months of each individual file we've received from the Epstein files. And this person is reporting that exact same thing. Katie Johnson went missing after suing Trump when she was 13 for on Epstein's island. Now this last one says a lot of why Trump didn't want the files to come out. Now be reminded that Pam Bondi said there were tens of thousands of tapes. However, they only released 2,000 tapes today. They are withholding the strongest, most damning evidence. So if we have this, we can only imagine what is still in those files. Because right here, it was reported that there were films of prominent men such as Epstein, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, that Ghislaine Maxwell is in the videos as well. And do you know that these reports against Donald Trump get so long that it doesn't stop here? We still have another page and a page after that. Donald Trump, what in the hell did you do on Epstein's island and with Epstein? Well, we don't need that question because we have all the proof right here. We've seen the birthday letters, the emails. Everything's implicated Trump. He's the #1 person in all of these, with over 27 abuse cases from grown women in recent times, some of which he's lost those cases. This is a long history with a very perverted man. Trump has used the excuse many times in videos before as saying, well, why didn't they speak about something like this before I ran for president? They did. We're looking at the files right now, and many of them that did ended up murdered. It actually appears we've covered this one document. This is one document, mind you. And for proof that the DOJ has removed these files, if you go onto their website, you will see that there is page not found. Now, in regards to Elon Musk's really big bomb that he actually ended up deleting, he says the real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump, because him and Donald Trump are having a disagreement, I guess. Trump stabbed him in the back for millions of dollars. Now, what's crazy about Elon Musk being in the emails, which we're going to get to right after this, Elon Musk also claims that Bill Gates is in the Epstein files, which he actually is. Now, how does Elon Musk know this? Well, apparently Elon went to Epstein's island, or at least he requested to on multiple occasions. These billionaires telling themselves, do they just lie about their entire lives to the public 24/7? Well, let's take a look at what Elon has to say about this.
I do want to ask you about US aid and the comments that Bill Gates made the other day, and I know that you called him...
Hi, I'm Andy Levian, General Counsel at the DNC. We just sued President Trump and Doge.
I know, you've said that already. I
That's terrible.
wondered,
Also,
and I'm just...
who does Bill Gates think he is to make comments about the welfare of children, given that he frequented Jeffrey Epstein?
Now, here are emails going to and from Elon Musk and Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, you are welcome to stay or just come for the day. Plenty of room. I will send a helicopter to get you. Epstein, do you have any parties planned? I've been working at the edge of my sanity this year, so once my kids head home for Christmas, I really want to hit the party scene and let loose. The invitation is much appreciated, but a peaceful island experience is the opposite of what I'm looking for. Epstein, understood. I will see you on St. Barth. The ratio on my island might make Talila uncomfortable. This is in 2012, and then in 2013, Elon wants to go visit again. Elon, okay, probably the first then. Jeffrey Epstein, the 2 or 3 would be perfect. I will come and get you, Elon. I need to fly back to LA on the night of the 2nd, so Elon again. Actually, I could fly back on the 3rd. We will be in St. Bart's. When should we head to your island? On the 2nd? And Jeffrey Epstein's assistant, just a reminder, Elon Musk was asking to come to your island on January 2nd. Now, if you're asking if the whole Trump administration knows that all of these people are convicted, yes, they do know this. Not only do they know that they're involved, they know their friends are involved, and the friends of their friends are involved, and some of them are even involved, such as Steve Bannon. And when they get asked about Trump and Epstein, they just simply start lying and deflecting, and it's so obvious. It's kind of the same as if you asked the remainder of MAGA who would fly back on the 3rd. We will be in St. Bart's. When should we head to your island? On the 2nd? And Jeffrey Epstein's assistant, just a reminder, Elon Musk, will these people are convicted? Yes, they do know this. Not only do they know that they're involved, they know their friends are involved, and the friends of their friends are. Not only do they island on the 2nd, and Jeffrey Epstein's assistant, just a reminder, Elon Musk was asking to come to your island on January 2nd. Now, if you're asking if the whole Trump administration knows that all of these people are convicted, yes, they do know this. Not only do they know that they're involved, they know their friends are involved, and the friends of their friends are involved, and some of them are even involved, such as Steve Bannon. And when they get asked about Trump and Epstein, they just simply start lying and deflecting, and it's so obvious. It's kind of the same as if you ask the remainder of MAGA, who is filled with just Nazis and PDF protectors, they'll just get quiet and not say anything about it. And then they'll complain about Biden, who hasn't appeared at least maliciously in the Epstein files not one time. And in this video, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche stands up for Trump, saying, men that abused girls, what does that even mean? As he tries to think of a response, he says the worst thing possible and has a Freudian slip of him trying to play clueless and failing miserably. Let's take a look at this clip.
You said this is the end of the Epstein, of your review of the Epstein files. Just to clarify, is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not?
I mean, you just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
Men who abused the young women through
Look, we said in July, and it remains as true today as it was in July, if we had information, we meaning the Department of Justice, about men who abused women, we would prosecute them, right? We talked about the work that we're doing. That's why I said that. I said this earlier. There's this built-in assumption that somehow there's this hidden tranche of information of men that we know about that we're covering up or that we're choosing not to prosecute. That is not the case. I don't know whether there are men out there that abuse these women. If we learn about information and evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But I don't think that the public or you all are going to uncover men within the Epstein files that abuse women.
That is the craziest statement of 2026. You don't think that convicted and imprisoned Jeffrey Epstein nor any of his friends abused women in the Epstein files? You don't know what it means to when a woman gets abused by a man? Todd Blanche, are you in the Epstein files? These are some of the worst liars and gaslighters we have seen in a very, very long time. But that's what Trump is, and that's who Trump hires, and that's who Trump keeps around him. Liars and gaslighters and manipulators. They're just not as good as Trump does it, and he's not too good himself at doing it, especially when he knows he's going to get impeached on midterms. Nobody's buying this rhetoric. They care less about the victims and more about the people that did what they did to the victims and protecting them instead. There should be no room in office for anybody that lacks this amount of integrity and would maliciously say things like this on a microphone, implying that every single victim who also disappeared was lying about what happened because apparently there's no men that abused women in the Epstein files. This is after they redacted everything, and by the way, he just got caught in another lie saying we released everything and we wouldn't withhold anything when they accidentally released this document right here that we went over that they redacted. It's no longer on the website. These people have lied for so long that they've run out of lies. They are done for. They are backed up into a corner and there is nothing they can say or do. They know that their backs are against the wall and Americans are not having it. Lawmakers are turning, MAGA's turning. There's no one to convince. So the only people left to convince is themselves, but they know the truth. And you can lie all you want to yourself, but America is going to reveal the truth to your face. So these people can either do the right thing or Americans will make them do the right thing. Such as this guy right here, Howard Lutnick, saying after he found out Epstein was a PDF, which completely goes against what Todd Blanche just said, says he completely stopped talking to Epstein after he found out what he was doing to women, or little girls more specifically. But then we find out there's 2012 emails between him and Epstein. They did talk. They've been talking. Matter of fact, the email was so bad he was asking Epstein to come back to his island again. But let's take a look at what Howard Lutnick had to say about this.
He opens the door, and there's a massage table in the middle of the room. And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me. And he says, and the right kind of massage. Now my wife is standing here. So
here you are.
Look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
Any kids coming along, will they arrive at Jeffrey Epstein's island via their boat? And around what time is good for them? If you could pass along what you know, that would be great. They are CC'd here. Thanks, Leslie. Leslie Groff appears to be Epstein's assistant, and they're all grouped together in this email, confirming that he did indeed create another visit to Epstein's island, going completely against his lie, the same as Donald Trump's lie, saying he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago and never talked to him again. So we're absolutely right. The White House is filled with a bunch of PDFs, and they're protecting them in the Epstein files, and they won't release the unredacted ones because they don't want mainly Trump's name getting out, but everyone associated with Trump also getting out there. They know what the result of that's going to be, and it's going to be far worse than impeachment and imprisonment, at least of one person. It's going to be a mass impeachment and imprisonment. Everybody's going down. There's nowhere to hide. There's no more lies to tell. You've been exposed time and time again. And most people don't understand how somebody can live this way for years. How do you lie to yourself for this long and think it's okay? That is something a child does, and you're an adult now. You're a grown man, a grown woman. Let's not forget when Megyn Kelly tried to stand up for Trump and Epstein and everybody in it, alleging that Epstein isn't a PDF, saying that 15 isn't that bad and at least they weren't 10, when we clearly see they've been 13 and all types of ages. But let's hear her words out of her mouth defending Trump yet again, because she is what's left of MAGA. Let's take a look at this clip.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it porn, now they call it child sexual abuse material, on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile, and only a pedophile gets off on young children videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest, I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10, I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. You know, it's just whatever.
This is who the remainder of MAGA is, justifying so much of what Trump does that they'll even justify being a PDF and being exposed with Epstein. It doesn't matter how much evidence comes out. It doesn't matter about the victims. It only matters about protecting Donald Trump and continually pushing the goalposts until they lose their own souls and humanity, to where our children can't feel protected in their own country. This is why MAGA has abandoned MAGA. And this is why nobody wants to be associated associated with MAGA, and the people that were associated with it wish that past could be scrubbed from the rest of their lives. This is what it means to be a white supremacist, and this is what it means to be a Nazi. Because according to Megyn Kelly, 15 is barely legal, and that's just fine with her and the rest of MAGA, which is why they still haven't left Trump regardless of this evidence, but the majority of MAGA has left Trump over this. Now, as these files continue to get released, we are going to expose every single facet of them. Anything redacted, we will work our best to make sure they are unredacted. This is why the Trump administration has failed, because every single thing they do in the dark will come to light, and this is why we are watching Trump fail in real time. MAGA has crumbled, the Trump admin is nowhere to turn, and Donald Trump is next. Midterms is only his time limit, if he even makes it that far. Because if Trump refuses to hold himself accountable, then the rest of America will. And we will not stop demanding that.
Why is no one in the government going and reading this shit and then being like, okay, hey, guys, we're gonna need the rest of the file. No, the only thing I want to hear out of your mouth is, here they are. You will be arrested. Like, why is no one actually enforcing the law? We need a Tom Howard who can get the fuck, or Tom Hammond, whoever the Minnesota guy is. We need one of those boots on the ground final bosses, but for fucking, the courts and our fucking judicial system. The cornerstone of our country. This is...
Epstein files. We are not asking. So with that being said, release the unredacted Epstein files, Donald Trump. Bring justice to Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Protect the children of this country and follow the law. Thank you very much for watching this.
Why is it that difficult to be like, follow the law? They're criminals, they're being arrested. They're criminals, they're being arrested. I'm definitely gonna watch this later. It's gonna be sick. Fucking...
We knew, but now we know. Let's get into the highlights from today's Epstein Files drop. First off, Trump compromised by Israel, and that Jared Kushner is the real brains, quote unquote, behind his administration. You don't say. Speaking of which, it definitely looks like Epstein was Mossad, as you can see here in this cheeky little exchange between him and the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. And Elon Musk, who has gone silent about the files as of late, looks like he was really looking forward to going to the island. And in this very dark document, an Epstein victim alleges that they were raped by President Bush and also saw babies being dismembered. We also got a number of pizza references throughout the files. And how about Bill Gates allegedly begging Jeffrey Epstein for antibiotics to discreetly slip to his then wife Melinda after he had contracted STDs from, you know what, with some Russian hookers. And finally, who the hell was this someone in China in April of 2009 who sent Jeffrey Epstein a torture video that he loved? No, it can't be. We knew, but now we know. Let's get into the...
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Sorry, I'm like...
Lightning Bruins at Raymond James Stadium.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Opportunity right here to explain to me that if that officer's conduct was, quote, beneath the men and women of ICE, unquote, why did you reinstate him?
Sir, that investigation was completed. I can give you that investigation and the information that you would like. This is
Well, I wrote you 2 months ago. Why haven't you given it to me yet?
I'm actually surprised that you haven't gotten it. I'm going to ask my staff about that.
Well, you
because
shouldn't
I
be
have
surprised
responded
because generally
to
speaking, you
hundreds
do
and
not
hundreds, if
respond
not
to
thousands
us.
of your letters.
Now, the other problem that we are
Mayorkas, when he
seeing
had this
all
job,
over
didn't
the
respond to letters
country
for years.
is that your officers are wearing masks, are dressed in plain clothes, often going around without identification.
All of our officers are
And
identified.
I'm not asking a question. I introduced the No Secret Police Act to stop this. We now have 113 co-sponsors so that they will not be masked and that they will identify themselves. Now, you say all of them are identifying themselves. That is not the case because last month in New York City again, the NYPD officers were injured by your masked plainclothes ICE officers after they were called from 911 as residents witnessed your officers pulling individuals out of their vehicles and chasing them down the street. I also asked you what happened there. How were the NYPD officers injured by your officers? And you didn't respond. What's the answer?
Sure, our individual
Gentlemen's
officers
time
are
gentlemen's
identified.
time has expired.
I yield back.
I recognize gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Secretary Noem. Thank you, Director Kent and Director Glasson, for your patriotism, your service to our country. Thank you to the families for allowing everyone to serve. We're grateful for that. Democrats like to show clip after clip. I represent a district that's half of the southern border. Our lives were turned upside down under Joe Biden, and now we have our lives back due to President Trump and due to the policies that y'all are executing. So thank you. I have one question, but I'm going to try to, if there's time. I think it'd be important for the American people to get an update on the role Coast Guard played in the Venezuela oil tanker seizure. But first, I'd like to once again, thank you for being here. And so I'd like to first thank you, CISA. Thank you for keeping our nation's critical infrastructure safe. You are our nation's cyber first responders. Thank you to the Coast Guard. During our Texas floods, you showed up, Coast Guard showed up, you saved lives. Thank you to the Coast Guard for all the work that they've done in Jayada South. They've been the tip of the spear in the Southcom AOR for a long time. Their work often goes unnoticed. Thank you, HSI, for leading these anti-gang task force. They work. You're going out there, you're apprehending murderers, you're apprehending sexual offenders, you're doing it in a local, state, federal way. They're working. Thank you for that. Thank you, ICE. Thank you for keeping us safe by deporting all these people. I really appreciate the innovative idea of DHS owning its own airplanes. It's ridiculous that we had to essentially contract out in order to have these repatriation flights. That is a game changer. Thank you for that. Thank you, ERO, for adding bed space. This is exactly how we continue to deport the millions of convicted criminal aliens that are in this country. Thank you, NCTC, for keeping us safe. You're exactly right. We thank you for vetting, for going out and finally doing the role of vetting these people. You and I served overseas. Many of us did. And we know oftentimes it was more dangerous at the chow hall than outside the wire, right? So thank you for that vetting. Thank you, Border Patrol, for ending catch and release. Thank you, TSA, for keeping us safe during all our travel, and then also looking into any future vulnerabilities. Thank you, Secret Service. Thank you for not only keeping our leaders safe, but a lot of people don't realize Secret Service is key to school safety. I think that's just so important. That brings us all together. I wanted to say I want to use the bulk of my time to just thank you, because we don't do that enough here. It's always finger pointing. It's always somebody else's fault. Please go back to your agencies and thank the men and women that are serving every day and helping to keep this country safe. With that, I'd like to give you a little time to talk about the Venezuelan situation and what the Coast Guard is doing.
The operation that was conducted yesterday morning was a Coast Guard-led operation. It was in partnership with the Department of War and the Department of Justice, the FBI as well, and it was a successful operation directed by the President to ensure that we're pushing back on a regime that is systematically covering and flooding our country with deadly drugs and killing our next generation of Americans. Just the drugs that the Coast Guard has been able to interdict on the waters since that President Trump has been in office has been enough lethal doses of cocaine to kill 177 million Americans. That's 2/3 of our country. that has been saved by blowing up, by going after and bringing to justice these individuals that are out at sea and those individuals that are funding it with a shadow fleet of sanctioned oil that should never be sold to benefit their profits and their pockets to kill Americans.
Thank you for that update. For many of us that served in uniform, oftentimes it was overseas. It was in the Middle East, or it was in Asia, or it was in Europe. And I think those AORs are very important.
Smart founders know something most people miss. Get your domain name even if you're not ready to launch your business.
Left wide open, and we're completely shocked why all these terrorists are in our country and all these people are unvetted. All this chaos is happening when in our own backyard was unsafe. So thank you again for one. I know you traveled, you met with heads of state, El Salvador, Mexico, a couple that come to mind. But I just want to thank you and for making our backyard a priority and ultimately to keep Americans safe. Texans are more safe today than we were a year ago. And a lot of that is due to President Trump and due to the leadership that I'm seeing right here of executing those policies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the gentlelady from Illinois, Ms. Ramirez, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Chairman.
American citizens have been arrested or detained. We focus on those that are here illegally.
Secretary Noem, you lie and you lied to the American people. I will be including into the record an article by ProPublica from October 16, 2025, entitled, "We found that more than 170 U.S. citizens have been held by immigration agents. They've been kicked." There's nothing smiling about U.S. citizens. I'm sorry, that's very inappropriate. Let me continue. They've been kicked, dragged, and detained for days. The next one.
177 million U.S. citizens?
The Trump administration has specifically targeted the worst of the worst. The individuals that we are going after are those that are violent criminals, those that are breaking our laws.
Do you, Secretary Noem, again, you lied to the American people. I will be including into the record an article by the NBC News from December 7, 2025, entitled, "ICE has arrested nearly 75,000 people with no criminal records," data shows.
Thank God the guy's going into
The co-equal branch of government, and it is your obligation as a member of the executive branch to honor decisions made by the highest court of the land. Yes or no, Secretary?
We are
Yes.
abiding by all federal judges' orders. Absolutely.
The Justice Department said that when the administration was ordered back in March to stop sending detained migrants to a mega prison in El Salvador, you personally made the final call to continue the flights anyway. Is that correct?
And the decisions that are made on deportations, where flights go and when they go, are my decision at the Department of Homeland Security. And we'll continue to do the right thing, continue to work and protect Americans, no matter what radical judge comes out and tries to stop us. We'll do.
You lied on the record, and you lied to members of this committee. You violated court orders by not turning around deportation flights bound for El Salvador, where we know that hundreds of people under your leadership have reported that they were raped, they were beaten, and they nearly died. And your agents used chemical weapons in Chicago despite court orders from District Court Judge Ellis forbidding their use. Secretary Noem, you, Gregory Bovino, and your ICBP and DHS deputized agents have waged an unaccountable, unlawful, unconstitutional war against communities across the nation. Our residents have been surveilled, they've been threatened, they've been tear gassed, they've been hit with pepper balls, they've been shot, they've been subjected to warrantless arrest and precision immobilization maneuvers, they've been kidnapped and disappeared under your leadership. So we have a lot to talk about, but you and your department continue to reject congressional oversight. And you know how I know this? I know this because I've requested a meeting with ICE Field Office Director Russell Hutt. I requested a meeting with Field Office Director Samuel Olson, and when you came to Chicago on October 3rd, I publicly and formally requested a meeting with you. So I'm going to be including a letter I sent on October 3rd requesting a meeting with Secretary Noem. So, Secretary Noem, I want to ask you again, will you commit to meet with me, yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a lot to talk about, and actually my scheduler has a couple dates that I'll get to you after this meeting. I appreciate that. So look, I want to be very clear. You have misused resources appropriated by Congress. You've engaged in unethical behavior. You have repeatedly made false and misleading statements to Congress and to the press, and you've undermined the separation of powers and disregarded the role of Congress and the courts. Bottom line, you lie with impunity. You reject checks and balances, and you ignore Congress and the courts. Your options are limited. Either you're going to resign, Trump's going to fire you, or you will be impeached. I've already called for your resignation. You may remember I hand-delivered my request to you back in May, and I urge you to reconsider resignation because I've taken the first step towards your impeachment, and I've called on the Judiciary Committee to open an investigation into your lawlessness. Mr. Chairman, I know that at the end we'll be entering a number of articles into consent, but since I have a few moments, I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter calling the Judiciary Committee to investigate Secretary Noem's impeachable offenses. Whatever you choose, the American people will have justice, Secretary, and you will be held accountable. I'm going to make sure of that every single day. With that, Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Luttrell, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Secretary. It's good to see you, and thank you again for coming to Texas after the Kerrville floods. Your team was amazing. Their interaction with the leadership in our state, up and down the chain of command, was outstanding. Not something I read about. I saw it. So I'm speaking from the truth. So let's talk about worldwide threats, if you don't mind. This may go back and forth to Mr. Glasheen and Mr. Kent. My questions, first and foremost, is the nefarious actors globally, they're kind of everywhere. And as we try to protect the motherland in the cyberspace, air, sea, and land, something that's come to my attention in the committee hearing we had earlier, undersea cabling. And I don't know if you're a subject matter expert on this. I really wasn't until this hearing. But a large amount of our information flows under the water, something that most people aren't aware of, but I can assure you that the bad actors globally probably are. Now, it's multi-jurisdictional from what I understand. It's the Department of Justice, it's Department of War, and then it's Department of Homeland Security. And they kind of juggle these, kind of juggle the effort. Can you give me some insight on the protection mechanism that Homeland Security has for our undersea cabling? And I consider this a very viable threat specifically for information flow, considering everything that goes back and forth across the water. Can you give me a kind of a high-level briefing considering the atmosphere of what we're looking at?
Yes, I can, and I'll try to leave some time for the other individuals too, but the Department of Homeland Security has 23 different components. Several of them have some responsibility for surveillance and monitoring of those cables and the information that flows through them. So CISA is our cybersecurity agency, which looks for bad actors, hunts down those bad actors, and then hardens our systems. So where we see a weakness or a vulnerability, they help us do that with the interactions we have with private companies, their communications, or other countries. But then we also have our Coast Guard out on the waters each and every day, which help us with surveillance activities to see if there's nefarious actors that would be out there jeopardizing those systems. We have INA, which is our intelligence and analysis. They are the ones that are helping us with our covert operations. They're the ones who are coordinating with our intelligence agencies on what we see as hacking attempts or enemies that would try to endanger those cables or cut them, damage them so that they couldn't be utilized to keep our critical infrastructure going. FEMA is the agency that's responsible for, on our worst day, if we needed something or someone to run the government, if there was an attack in this country, FEMA is the agency that would do that and maintains the resources to making sure that we have.
This is one of the biggest ideas we've ever had to pull off.
I tweeted out that I've been sitting on this idea for a commercial. And
system, and there's from what I understand, there's over 1 million miles of cable underwater. I want to make sure that we have enough protection in place so the ripple effect is not catastrophic to the country. Mr. Kent, you got something to add there? I was going to shift over to Mr. Glasheen.
In terms of undersea cabling, no, I do not.
Okay. Mr. Glasheen, I have a question for you. So as far as trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking, this always hurts me to say this, but Houston, Texas is in my district, and it is the worst city in the country for sex trafficking in the country. I just cannot believe that. What is the FBI doing amongst other agencies? You just happen to be sitting here in front of me. And Madam Secretary, you can probably jump in on this too. Enough's enough. I understand the complexities of the World Wide Web and how these bastards are doing this, and we can't seem to grab a hold of them. What's the answer?
Our HSI investigators specialize in child trafficking and human trafficking. They get up every single day and hunt down those individuals that victimize our children and partner with nonprofits and other agencies with the FBI to do that. Yes, it's shocking to me that Houston is one of the hotbeds as well.
We need to take a better look at this because we're losing. I mean, we're losing so bad. I don't even know how to define it. And this has been happening. I said this exact same thing to Mr. Mayorkas, and if I was here before that, I'd say the same thing again. It's just, we have not figured it out. Mr. Glasheen, you got anything for that?
Yeah, I would tell you, it's been a priority with this director. And, you know, so far this year, compared to last year, we have 300 plus human traffickers arrested, up 15%.
I'm sorry, sir. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I appreciate that, and
I'll catch you after class.
if one of the following witnesses wants to give him some time to answer that very important question, they could do that. Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Kennedy, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Noem, with about a year as DHS Secretary under your belt, there's no shortage of criticisms for me to choose from today. You've deported American citizens, bringing a level of inhumanity to this nation's immigration laws that I haven't seen in my lifetime. You've terrorized communities, including my own in Buffalo, New York, vowing to go after the worst of the worst, but instead detaining women, children, and hardworking individuals in pursuit of the American dream. You've botched a response to one of the most devastating floods we've seen, an extreme weather event along the Guadalupe River that took more than 130 innocent lives, including more than 35 children. Central Texas waited days for your agency to respond because of the reckless policies you've implemented. Your FEMA lead was missing in action, completely unreachable, as were FEMA's call lines, with 84% of calls unanswered on July 7th, 3 days after the floods. FEMA personnel, despite your slashing of their ranks, who were ready and willing to help, waited days to spring into action because of your policies. Disasters do not wait for bureaucracy. Your abysmal performance goes beyond your woeful disaster response. You've also taken a sledgehammer to FEMA's recovery, preparedness, and mitigation missions. You cancel more than $4 billion in building resilient infrastructure in communities funds, a program that helps communities reduce their risk of natural disasters. You withheld millions in FEMA funds for emergency alerting infrastructure found to be in violation of the Impound Control Act. You, perhaps most critical to my state of New York, canceled more than 90% of New York State's Homeland Security Program funding, including $134 million in urban area security initiative funds for New York City's greater metropolitan areas. You have mismanaged these grants to the point where cities and states, including New York, are suing you to recover counterterrorism funding that's lawfully theirs and that Congress intended for them to receive. It's a tragedy that we're here today discussing these cuts to counterterrorism and security grant funds for a city that was the main site of the September 11th attacks, the entire reason your department was established in the first place. As the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Emergency Management, it's my responsibility to show the American public how you've systemically upended FEMA and emergency preparedness as we know it. So I have a couple of questions. Simple yes or no answer will suffice. Would you agree with the national security officials' assessment that the United States has been operating in a heightened threat environment for several years now?
Yes.
Yes or no? Would you say New York City is susceptible to these kinds of security threats?
Yes, and that's why they should spend
So with New York City
$440
being the
million
number
they
one
had in
terrorist
reserves
target in the
that the
nation,
federal government gave them
with
to
New
use
York
to
City
secure
being
their
the number
city,
one, I reclaim my
they did
time,
not
with New York
spend-
City being the number
did not
one
spend the
security
hundreds of
threat in
millions
this
of dollars
nation,
they had
it's
to secure their
unconscionable
city
that you
and
would
to
cut
release criminals on the street each and every day.
$134 million in urban area security initiative funding for the city of New York. What compelled you to knowingly make our cities less safe with these funding cuts?
What compels you, your mayor, and your governor to release thousands of criminals on the streets rather than to turn them over to ICE? You'd rather release
Secretary
a
Noem,
murderer out onto
Secretary
your
Noem,
street,
you cut
a rapist on your
$134
street,
million
and honor our detainers.
in
You should
funds
honor our
to
detainers
support the
against violent
security
criminals
of
to get
New
them
York
out of New
City
York City.
and the state of New York, the number one threat in this nation. In your own words, your cuts are blatantly political, callous, and outright dangerous. It's clear you have no interest in countering real threats in the homeland. While high-risk cities and disaster zones wait for help, you've devoted the past 11 months of violent raids, anti-police policies, and nonstop photo ops. You've brought shame to a department that was created after 9/11 in a time of unity to protect our people. Your failure to lead is a direct threat to the homeland security in our nation, and you should resign immediately. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Strong, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ranking member, and members of this committee. I thank you, too, to our witnesses for being here today, for your work to protect the homeland in an increasingly complex threat environment. My question today focuses specifically on the evolving drone threat. Mr. Glasheen, the FBI's National Counter UAS Training Center at Redstone Arsenal is now the central hub for preparing federal, state, and local partners for drone threats at major events. What makes Redstone Arsenal such an effective location for this mission, and how does that setting support the scale of training required for World Cup, America 250, and the 2028 Olympics?
Thank you for your question, Congressman. What makes Redstone a great partner for us is, one, the support that we have from Congress. Number two, the space we have there. The FBI has been in Huntsville for a long time. Huntsville also houses our Special Agent Bomb Technician Program, where we train bomb technicians, EOD professionals across the United States, and we model in the Counter UAS School off of that. So that proof of concept has been in place, and we're mirroring that process to train the Counter UAS operators.
Thank you. I was there for the inaugural graduation. I'm telling you, it was most impressive. I can assure you there's no other location in the country that offers the same mix of controlled airspace, testing ranges, partnered agencies, and mission infrastructure that the FBI has at Redstone Arsenal. Counter UAS has the ability in Huntsville to jam, block, drop, intercept, and do forensics. As demand for this specialized training grows, what investment should Congress prioritize to ensure long-term stability for this mission at Redstone?
I'd say yesterday, or the legislation in front of, I think, the Senate right now for the NDA, for the authorities, that'd be the first step to give us the ability to.
In theaters now.
Everyone wants to know, so here it is.
The computer technology, it evolves with the months. And so the counter UAS technology is going to change, so have the appropriate funding and support to stay up with that technology so we can mitigate the threats that our nation faces.
Thank you. Those graduates were from all over the country, and it was most impressive. Secretary Noem, this committee has failed to thank you for your faithful service to America. The southern border is closed. Human smugglers, drug traffickers, and illegal aliens that invaded this country from more than 160 different countries are being returned to the country of their origin. Fentanyl poisonings are down more than 35%. Secretary Noem, thank you for your efforts to keep these drugs out of our country in an effort to save a generation of Americans. It's not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. It's an American issue. And I thank you. Secretary Noem, many of the most advanced counter unmanned aerial systems technologies are being tested and evaluated in North Alabama. How is DHS ensuring that those capabilities transition quickly into field use, particularly ahead of these major events, and what more can Congress do to accelerate the pipeline?
You know, we appreciate the authorities that are necessary for us to operate, and standing up a drone program and counter-drone program is one of the top 3 priorities of the department this next year to meet the threats that we face every day. Every day, our Secret Service, our Coast Guard, our Border Patrol are seeing drones used against them. Criminals using them to surveil them, to find out law enforcement operations, and to leak them, and to put their lives in danger. So making sure that we have the ability to operate and to see far into the future and over our operations is important, but we also need the opportunity to take them down when necessary. We've seen the cartels using weaponized drones against each other. We know it's only a matter of time before we see that here on the homeland. My job is to make sure that we're prepared and that we're equipped, and to advocate to you for the authorities that we need to make that happen.
Thank you. With the new counter-UAS authorities expected to be enacted as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, the next challenge is execution. What concrete steps is DHS planning to take in the coming months to ensure that these new authorities are fully operational before the FIFA World Cup, the Olympics, and America 250? And I even want to take it even further. You start looking at college football, we've got to take it even further. Rather than they're all large gathering events. I actually had the Secretary of Security of the Southeastern Conference before Mr. Kennedy and my committee, and it was unbelievable. On any given weekend, 8 to 10 football stadiums with greater than 90,000 people there. We must defend the home front. And I'm sorry that my time has expired, but I thank you for being before this committee today.
Gentleman yields. I now recognize the gentlelady from New Jersey, Ms. McIver, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, for holding this hearing today. The greatest threat to the homeland right now is a Department of Homeland Security that the American people no longer trust, a department actively undermined by its own secretary. This is on you, Secretary Noem. Today's hearing is supposed to be about worldwide threats, but Madam Secretary, under your watch, the threat is coming from inside the building. Because when DHS, the department charged with keeping Americans safe, is caught breaking the law, lying to the American public, systematically dismantling oversight, fueling bigotry, and targeting vulnerable communities, trust is broken. Let's start with the basics. How can we trust your department with you at the helm? The American people deserve an answer, even if you've spent the past year dodging accountability like it's your full-time job. We need to talk about oversight. Oversight is not optional. It is not a courtesy because you feel like it. It is not something you entertain only when it's politically convenient to you. Yet, time and time again, Secretary Noem, you have treated congressional oversight as an inconvenience best, and at worst, something to be invaded, ignored, or denied altogether. Republicans on this committee may be willing to hand over their constitutional duty in order to kiss this administration's butt cheeks, but I am not. I will never. My district is not, and the American people sure aren't. While Republicans turned this hearing into a praise fest for your failed tenure, communities across America, including mine in New Jersey, are made less safe because DHS under your leadership has become unproductive and malicious. All of the thank you that we keep hearing from across the aisle, there's no thank you from me. And we see the truth that you're trying to hide. The truth is you are deeply unqualified for the post you hold. This is on full display in the way you treat the people in this body, myself included, who have been elected to serve our communities and keep them safe. Representative Grajava, Senator Padilla, myself and others whose character, integrity, and bodies were attacked by your department without evidence and without apology. Far beyond being disrespectful, you have shown a complete disregard for the oversight authority granted to us by law. You have repeatedly shown that you will target whoever you want, whenever you want, without accountability. Members of Congress, members of our communities, and even American citizens, as many of my colleagues have continued to point out today. Secretary Noem, that's not leadership. That's not democracy. And that is not how this works. Again, this is not just about you. Don't want you to think this is just a pick on you day. This is about the Trump administration that has turned DHS into a political weapon. So I'll ask you this. Is Trump embarrassed by your tenure, or is this exactly the kind of god-awful leadership he wants at DHS? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we've already conducted more oversight visits.
No. It's a yes or no. Yes or no. Okay, Secretary Noem, this is my time to talk, not your time to talk. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. Chair, I reclaim my time. Secretary Noem, DHS is breaking the law, hiding information from Congress, and shutting out oversight. So let me ask you, how can the American people trust your department with you at the helm with this kind of behavior?
The American people absolutely trust this department to keep them safe. And we are showing that every day by the support we get across the country, the amount of people that we're recruiting to all of our
Thank you,
different
Secretary
agencies.
Noem. Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
Excuse me, would you say that
You
again?
would have heard me if you stopped talking and listened to my questions. Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
We are not doing that. We are out there enforcing the law, doing our work, and we are allowing oversight.
Of course, we're not going to get any
more than the
answers. With
entire
that,
Joe
Mr.
Biden
Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. McKean, for 5 minutes of questions.
It's no wonder that chaos has become the commonplace when rudeness is so on display. Look, it's both sides. We've created a lack of civility in this country, but we're perpetuating in this society what your administration is trying to correct, and that is returning back to the rule of law. What separates us from falling into chaos as a nation, where poverty envelops us, is when we return to order and a display of respect towards law enforcement, a display of respect to officials. Look, this custom, and you've been a member of Congress, of where we talk over people and we don't give secretaries a chance to respond, the height of self-importance that too many people try to employ in this building, not remembering we're all here as public servants to serve the people. We lift our hearts up far beyond our fellow countrymen. I'll tell you who says thank you. It's those whose families that were the victim of assaults and rapes and murders under the auto pen period the last 4 years. They say thank you. Those who see the madness of lawlessness, a lack of respect to law enforcement, the heightened element of law enforcement sitting in their vehicles and being targeted, say thank you. Those families of law enforcement whose addresses are being put out in public so they can intimidate not only the law enforcement officials but their families to try to put them into a place of fear, say thank you for common sense returning back into this country. If we do not have a respect of authority, a respect of law enforcement, thank you for allowing arrests to happen when someone spits at law enforcement. Thank you. FEMA, you were assaulted a minute ago verbally over what you're doing with FEMA. I will tell you, as somebody that comes from a state that has more tornadoes, Oklahoma, than probably any other state, thank you for looking at how we can save money through efficiencies. Our state would love the opportunity of what this administration is talking about, of returning power and decision-making back to states. As I've said to you before, of a person who sat on a bulldozer watching the madness of trying to comply with EPA regs that have built their way into FEMA and people's homes destroyed, and as a state lawmaker pushing timber around on a dozer trying to comply and get taking the time off from the time of exercise as a lawmaker trying to help people, and I saw the craziness of federal regulations. Thank you for looking and not taking your foot off the gas of trying to put more money back into national security from the waste that has happened through endless regs. All right, now I'm going to get to the questions,
Could I
Secretary.
say something about FEMA?
Absolutely you can. Thank you.
The only grants that weren't funded, the individual ones that you were talking about, mitigation ahead, were ones that were weaponized to fund the Green New Deal and for climate change. And those were redirected to true mitigation efforts. FEMA today is deploying resources 2 times faster on average than in history, which means the dollars are going out twice as fast than they ever have before. And the president, as soon as these disasters are happening, is deploying those resources to Republican and Democrat states. New Mexico, Texas, Alaska, they're all getting dollars immediately, and we're responding immediately to our people.
I just
have to actually leave this hearing early because the FEMA Review Council is giving their report today on suggestions for changes to FEMA.
Thank you for not taking your foot off the gas
I have
on
to
that.
co-chair it, but I will be leaving soon to have to go do that. But those suggestions are Republicans and Democrats coming forward with how FEMA should go forward in the future based on the president's vision for making sure that states get the chance to manage it and that local emergency managers get the chance to go and help their communities in a much more efficient way.
Take those monies and let's move it to true national security through waste and inefficiencies. Where we've deployed money for snow movement. We have deployed money previously to move snow that melts. Okay, I want to just throw this open to you and Director Kent, whoever wants to take this. We have to find a balance between
Breaking. According to GHF, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, an Israeli strike kills little American.
The social media heightened of a hearing that the chairman held last week. Great hearing. How do we preserve? What ideas can we continue with to where the online enticement threats causing people to want to embolden themselves to then go act upon those threats that we see in social media? They say the magic words. They know it's not going to get them because they don't do a direct threat, but it's an indirect threat. It's always trying to accomplish the same purpose. How do we preserve the First Amendment? This is a lawmaking exercise of why we hold these hearings, not for show. How do we come up with a way to preserve the First Amendment and stop the insanity of these indirect threats that are going after your law enforcement officials?
I apologize. Gentleman's time has expired. I know the secretary has to leave, and I would now recognize the gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Johnson, for 5 minutes of questions.
The battle starts in 5, 4.
I'm just going to take the position that she's scared of my questions.
All you need to do is capture the mission area.
Mr. Chairman, if we could stop the clock and
Oh, yes,
wait
no,
till after all
absolutely.
this.
The clerk will suspend.
If we could reset the time,
Yes.
that would be helpful.
We'll reset the clock. Gentlelady, prepared?
Okay. Thank you.
Gentlelady's recognized.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to respond to a lot of what Secretary Noem has just testified to. And gentlemen, I have some comments that I hope you'll take back to the Secretary and to the Department. If there's anything that is clear about what is going on in this country, is that the rhetoric and fear that is happening is at an all-time escalated high, and we're all describing different aspects of it. Fear of law enforcement, fear of citizens, fear of people who are legally in this country, because it's the rhetoric that is happening from the very top that is being decimated down level, and that is really, really dangerous. And one of the things that the Secretary said was she is restoring the rule of law. That is absolutely not true, because the rule of law is founded on two fundamental principles. That if you are going to be subject to a criminal arrest in this country, that there is probable cause to do so. You can't just snatch somebody walking into a coffee shop because of the color of their skin. There's no probable cause for that. And also that you will get due process. And that is not happening. And so what you're seeing is an overwhelming frustration of the American people in this country, that the lack of respect and regard for the rule of law by this administration, and in particular, by this secretary is at a level that we have never seen and violates all of the constitutional norms and all of the principles of legal fairness in this country. And you're seeing that manifest itself in threats to law enforcement and bubbling over because people are frustrated. And they are channeling that frustration because the administration is not listening and is only doubling down on the rhetoric. You know, this notion that I think my colleagues highlighted that we're only going to pursue serious threats. It's just not true. I visited an ICE facility outside of Dallas, and over 70% of them were classified as the lowest threat level, as never having a criminal record at all. But yet they were there because of the color of their skin. There was not a probable cause. They're not a threat to this country. They have no criminal history at all. I fully support, as does everyone on this committee, Homeland Security focusing on threats to our national security. We want cybersecurity. We want terroristic threats from abroad to be stopped. Absolutely. None of us want a recreation of 9/11, but we also do not want, under any level, the trampling of our constitutional rights and the legal system of due process. I have a poster here to highlight 3 American citizens that were arrested by ICE who had done nothing wrong. They presented themselves as American citizens, but yet were still trampled, assault. One had broken ribs, a brain injury, an older gentleman by being knocked down to the ground after he said, "I'm an American citizen." But yet they did not stop. And that is a huge problem. When somebody says, "I'm an American citizen," to ICE, and ICE does not stop and continues to assault them and physically berate them and then hold them for days and days on end without a due process hearing, that is a problem. And it is not stopping. We have brought these concerns to the Secretary and to agencies like yourself in these hearings time and time again through multiple letters. We've all written letters that have gone unresponded because this cannot happen in our country. And the reality of it is, in any law enforcement situation, and what we have happening out into the public is there are ICE agents and there are Border Patrol agents that are doing their great job. They're doing what they're supposed to do. But there are also bad actors. There are people who are exceeding their authority. The power's gone to their head. The intimidation is outrageous. And there's no effort to rein them in by the FBI. There's no effort to rein them in by the Homeland Security. There's no effort to overcorrect, just like one of my colleagues highlighted, the reinstatement of one that was inappropriate. And these efforts are breaking down the trust of the American people. I hope you take these concerns back because they need to be addressed if we're going to address the violence in this country. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Creighton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this committee hearing today. Thank you for the witnesses. Director Kent, you talked about what keeps you up at night. I believe you said we don't know who came into the country in the last 4 years. And we've cited several times in this hearing that about 15 to 20 million people came into this country under the last administration. And something that you said actually shocked me. You said that 18,000 known and suspected terrorists entered into the country during the Biden administration. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's deeply concerning, but I'm really not surprised. Many of us in this committee said that's exactly what was going to happen. I didn't know that those numbers would be as high as they are. One of the other things that really concerns me about what's going on in this country is we continue to let people into this country that do not want to assimilate to our culture and want to harm Americans. I want to go ahead and play a video.
Judge, jury, executioner! We
law should be above the U.S. Constitution.
Yes.
Should Sharia law be over the U.S. Constitution?
Yes.
U.S. Constitution, which is made by people, and the Sharia law is made by Allah. So that is all the way above. That has to be definitely in the land, not for the America, for the whole world would be above. The
So
Sharia
that
law.
should be above the U.S.
Definitely.
Constitution.
Yes.
Do you feel more comfortable living under
American law, or do you feel more comfortable living under Sharia law?
Sharia law. I'm a Muslim. I prefer Sharia law. Sharia law, yes.
You prefer Sharia law over American law?
Of course, yeah.
They always can come with the same accusations. This speaker supports death penalty for homosexuals. This speaker supports death penalty for this crime or that he is homophobic. These are general views that every Muslim actually has. Every Muslim believes in these things.
If the law of the land is Islamic, we respect the law of the land.
What if it's not Islamic?
If it's not Islamic, then the law of the land and those who make it can go to hell, quite honestly, because Allah said in the Quran, in chapter 33, verse 1, He said, O Prophet, fear Allah and do not obey the disbelievers and the hypocrites.
You know why they're worried about the border? Watch this clip here that Vinny just sent with Al-Qaeda. I call upon every Muslim in the infidel, criminal, and arrogant United States. It does not matter if they're Arab, American, or other descent. I'm saying to all of them, revenge, revenge. Do not consult anyone about killing infidel Americans. You should have a lot of determination, and the list of your targets should be effective.
Director Kent, what do you think when you see a video like that?
I think we didn't have control of our borders, and we don't know who's come into our country. However, we have had around 2.7 million individuals from Muslim countries and Muslim regions who came in under the Biden administration, who went through minimal to no vetting whatsoever, who probably share values like the folks that you saw on the screen.
Director Kent, are you aware that when we invite people into this country and they become citizens, they swear an oath to defend and support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America and against all enemies, foreign and domestic?
Yes.
You telling me y'all didn't hear a lick of what I was saying? That super sucks, dude. I'm so sorry. I had some important shit to say. Fuck. These guys are spitting. That guy's strong, and the guy from Oklahoma was spitting. That Cucamonga of a secretary needs to remember whose house she's in, because she has been woefully disrespectful.
Director Kent, are you aware of some of the differences between
Also, they're all children. Up until the Oklahoma guy, it was just arguing and talking over each other, and nothing was gonna get done, and it was awful. The Oklahoma guy came in and started spitting the final boss of Law and Order, dude.
Between the First Amendment, which guarantees freedom of speech and the press, including the right to criticize religions, religious texts, and public figures without government punishment.
Yeah, the freedom of speech, I think, is huge because you don't have that under Sharia law, and you also don't have the assumption of innocence under Sharia law as we do.
Many interpretations of Sharia, blasphemy, criticism of the Quran or the Prophet Muhammad can be a serious offense, sometimes punishable by death. And there are many others that I don't have time to get to, but I wanted to bring that up today so that Americans understand the differences and why we need to be very careful about who we let into this country. I thank you guys for the work you do. I thank you for those underneath you working so hard to keep the American citizens and people safe. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back, and I remind if you don't get to questions that you want to ask, you can submit them for the record. So we can do that at the end. I now recognize the gentleman from Puerto Rico, Mr. Hernandez, for 5 minutes of questions.
I have some matters of interest regarding immigration and FEMA, but before that, Mr. Kent, does the Bible say anything about freedom of speech?
Not a biblical scholar.
I don't think it does, and I'm concerned about singling out Muslims and specific religions to talk about how their religious dogma conflicts with our laws and constitutions. I lament
Valid.
that Ms.
So
Noor has
valid.
had to leave early today, but I wanted to talk about the atrocities that the DHS's immigration enforcement and the pain it is causing in places like my home district of Puerto Rico. Just a few weeks ago, we witnessed ICE shove a pregnant woman. I cannot imagine, as an expecting father myself, the anxiety that that family must have gone through when they took that person to the hospital and treated her for her injuries. Also,
Jesus
a few weeks
Christ,
ago,
guys.
CBP detained Aracelis Terrero from the streets of Cabo Rojo. They put her on a plane, they sent her to Texas. She was in a detention facility. She was removed from the detainee location service, and she was not allowed to contact her attorney. Ms. Terrero was a domestic violence victim who was in Puerto Rico with a legal work permit. And I wanted to ask Ms. Noem if DHS policies allow CBP agents to detain persons who are legally in the United States. I wanted to ask Ms. Noem the legal authority behind the detention of Aracelis Terrero. I wanted to ask Ms. Noem why she was removed from the detainee location system. I wanted to ask Ms. Noem why Aracelis Terrero was not allowed to contact her attorney. Unfortunately, I predict that she would not have given us adequate answers based on the answers that she has provided to my colleagues.
Yeah, the straw manning, dude. It's so ridiculous. This is what she does. She's... I would have let her finish.
In Puerto Rico, I witnessed how many TSA agents worked arduously without pay during the government shutdown, and how her announcement that they would get $10,000 as a bonus for working without pay during the pandemic actually created the opposite effect of boosting morale, because it was so selective that it excluded, apparently, most workers. And finally, I wanted to raise the concerns of red and blue mayors from Puerto Rico. I emphasize red and blue mayors, Republican and Democratic mayors, regarding her recent secret policy regarding transactions or grants for FEMA money that exceed $100,000. So to their surprise, they found out that grants and funding assignments exceeding $100,000 would now need to be approved by Secretary Noem. But there was no transparency regarding that rule. And we have no information regarding the application and the enforcement of that rule. And I sent her a letter with 15 other members asking those questions, and I got a letter in response that has no answers to these questions.
That's what she does!
Reconsider this policy that is delaying aid and reconstruction funds for the people of Puerto Rico, which are still suffering 9 years after Hurricane Maria, and that this is affecting Republicans and Democrats, that reconstruction should not have a party ID, and that instead of fighting the bureaucracy, this has made the bureaucracy worse. But unfortunately, Secretary Noem left early, and we are left expecting these answers. Thank you, and with that, I yield back.
Why was she allowed to leave early?
As a gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Ogles, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses. Let's be clear. The United States of America is safer today because of President Trump. The United States of America is the dominant predator across all landscapes because of President Trump. We have restored our status as the global leader because of President Trump. Hard stop. Now, when we look at the topic of the hearings, the objectives, there were 6 bullet points. I'm going to hit the highlights, examine the full scope of evolving threats facing the United States of America, particularly on readiness at the federal, local, and state level. Highlight the significant, number 2, significant national security gains achieved by President Donald Trump. 3, review the Trump administration's efforts to reverse the damage caused by the Biden border crisis. 4, analyze the scale and scope of cyber threats, which is my area as the chairman of the cyber subcommittee. 5, discuss the evolving terrorism landscape, including FTOs, HVEs, and DVEs. And 6, evaluate emerging unconventional threats. Unfortunately, my colleagues must not have read the memo, because that's not what they've talked about. They want to talk about ICE and immigration. So let's talk about that. You know, in 1965, we passed the Hart-Celler Act. Since that time, we've seen chain migration on a scale that, quite frankly,
This guy
I'm not
might be
sure
cooking.
even the progressive liberal authors of that bill could have possibly imagined. In that amount of time, we've seen 60 million migrants come into this country, most of which, 90%, from third world countries. There are roughly 300,000 Afghans in America, 200,000 of which came under Biden. Approximately 45% of Afghans are on U.S. food stamps. Afghans under the Biden administration have an unemployment rate double that of Americans. 68% of Afghans are on Medicaid. Let's go overseas. And so if that sounds like political rhetoric, let's look at the facts. Paris, 48% of crimes committed by foreigners,
this old?
most of which were Muslim. Overall crime has surged since the Islamic migrant influx. That is from the French Interior Ministry. London, 40% of sex crimes are committed by foreigners, most of which are Muslims. That's the Metropolitan Police Department. Rome, 83% of 2024 street robberies by non-EU citizens, almost all of which were Muslim. Sexual assault, 69% Muslim, Italian police reports. Minneapolis, here in the homeland. Violent crime in Cedar Riverside, a Somali hub, rose 56%, 2010 to 2018. Dearborn, Michigan, crime 105% above the national average. Hamtramck, outside of Detroit, 92% of assaults by Muslim immigrants. Drug arrests, 85% Muslim immigrants. Now let's go to Nashville, Tennessee, where a Somali man, a migrant who came in 2015, raped to death a woman on the steps of a church. I've had enough. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Deport them all. This is our country. We get to decide who comes in, and we get to decide who has to leave. And I say, deport them all. 90% that have come into this country are from third world countries, most of which are sucking resources from American citizens, burdening our cities. They do not belong here. Mr. Kent, I'm chairman of the Cyber Subcommittee. Let's go into the scope and scale of the cyber threats posed by the CCP. I give you the floor, sir.
CCP is probably one of the more aggressive actors in the cyberspace right now. NCTC is mostly focused on the terrorism realm and how terrorist actors are using the proliferation of encrypted devices and just the internet to spread propaganda.
I'm about to deport them all, but definitely, you know, if you can't catch violent criminals, but you can catch American citizens, something's wrong.
I would say that the Chinese government, CCP, is our greatest.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44. Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Nina can't code. Interesting. Can it generate reports?
It can now.
Nice.
So you're saying we can... You know, I want to thank the witnesses for being here, and I want to thank President Trump. You know, as I sit in the skiff and I'm reading the briefings from the CIA and the FBI on the daily attacks to our country and to our infrastructure, I appreciate the president, and I appreciate you gentlemen and your service to this country in keeping Americans safe. They have no idea what you do every single day. God bless you, and God bless America. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the gentlelady from New Jersey, Ms. Poe, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to our ranking member. Yes, indeed, we've spoken a great deal and learned many things here today, some of which are still going unanswered, many questions that all of us still have. And there are a vast number of threats that endanger our homeland, from increasingly sophisticated state-sponsored terrorist networks to evolving technologies. Our law enforcement agencies are engaging criminals on multiple fronts and facing significant demands every single day. Next year, there will be an increasingly heightened threat environment in my district in northern New Jersey as we host the World Cup. Federal counterterrorism grant funding is absolutely critical in keeping our communities safe against the evolving threat environment. This is why I have been so deeply disturbed by the decision of Secretary Noem to freeze, delay, and cut billions of dollars in federal counterterrorism grant funds. In February, her department, DHS, froze billions of dollars in counterterrorism grants that had already been awarded to states and cities. This left state and local public safety organizations unable to access critical funding. DHS then ignored legal deadlines for releasing this year's installment of the $1.5 billion for these counterterrorism programs. And when DHS finally released this funding, she abruptly and illegally slash funding to states with Democratic governors like New Jersey. States and localities have sued in federal court for funding owed by the federal government that was appropriated for them.
See, I'm
by
sitting here and
Congress.
I'm like, dude,
In
I gotta do
October,
something.
I
I can't just sit here and listen to
If
this.
she was here, I would be saying this directly to her. Signed by all of my Democratic colleagues in New Jersey's delegation, demanding that she stop playing politics with federal counterterrorism funding and immediately restore New Jersey's allocation. Specifically, I'm referring to the 50% cut to New Jersey's allocation of the Homeland Security Grant Program, which includes the Urban Area Security Initiative and the State Homeland Security Program. This is the single largest preparation grant program in the Federal Emergency Management Agency. New Jersey has relied on these federal grants to respond and prepared against terrorist attacks. When she published the notice of funding opportunities for the Homeland Security Grant Program, she stated that her intent to allocate this funding.
Alright, I'm gonna go play drums for a little bit. And then we're gonna get back to it post drumming. 'Cause I wanna. Alright. Peak.